Hi, everyone. I'm Elisa Velardo, Deputy Commissioner for DDS, and this is our fourth Tuesday forum. And today's topic is assistive technology, applied assistive technology solutions. I want to welcome everybody here today. We've got a great lineup of presentations. We are recording today's session, and this recording, along with all of the documents that are shared in today's forum, will be posted on our website under Fourth Tuesday Forums. I would say give it until Monday of next week, and all those materials will be available on the website. So if someone you know was not able to attend today but is interested in this topic, they'll have the presentation and all the materials available to them. We have several presentations, and we do hold all questions until after the presentations have occurred. But if somebody's speaking, feel free to drop a note in the chat, any question you have in the chat, and then we will get to questions and answers at the end of the presentations. And so we'll get started. Our first presenter is Patricia Orozco, our Director of Assistive Technology, who's going to talk a little bit about assistive technology in the home. Welcome, Patricia.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. You pronounced my name very well. I think I heard a rolling of the tongue there. Very good. Rolling of the R's.
I try.
I know. No, you did a great job. You really did. Okay, here we are. See my presentation?
We can.
Okay, empowering families. Giving an overall just view of assistive technology at home and how it can help. I'm not just going to show you slides and products. I use a lot of this assistive technology, and it's helped my family tremendously. We've overcome some barriers and some challenges because of assistive technology. I've mentioned before in different sessions, my son has type 1 diabetes. It's the ongoing glucose monitor that saved his life. So I believe strongly in assistive technology. Now we've been dealing with this, my dad has Alzheimer's. And when I first went to the house, I saw how stressed out my mom was. And it was affecting their daily life. It was affecting their day-to-day activities. So I decided to put some assistive technology in the house. So as I go through these presentations, there's two things that are going to happen. I'm going to talk about some of the products from a personal standpoint that I've actually used these products. And also, you're going to see them repeatedly. You're going to see them repeated. So you'll see thermostat a few times. You'll see different products a few times. But I did that on purpose so that you could see that these products can be used in many different ways. So integrating home automation systems. Assistive technology is just awesome, and you can use it in so many different ways. But what I've done is I've put together basically a morning routine, just a course of a day. So imagine you're waking up in the morning and your alarm's going off, but your alarm isn't loud, annoying noise. Instead, maybe it's Good Morning by the Beatles or George Harrison singing Good Day Sunshine. So no, Here Comes the Sun. That's even better. So you're listening to that, and all of a sudden you have your lights, your smart lights. They are starting to gradually come up so that it looks like it's sunrise. If your house has a lot of windows, maybe you're using smart blinds. And the smart blinds, they could also go up when your alarm goes off. And then, of course, a smart coffee maker. So the alarm sets, your blinds are going up. By the time you go in the kitchen, you've already had your cup of coffee ready to go. That to me is a great day. Medication disbursement. There's various different kinds of medication dispensers. I'm familiar with the one on the bottom, and it's a great dispenser. What it does is, if my dad doesn't take his medication, it alerts me. When he takes it, it alerts me as well. So I always know on my phone what's going on with his medication. The one on the top takes more pills than the one on the bottom. And that's something you really have to consider when you are looking into these devices. The device on the bottom takes 10 pills in total, and I needed one that took 12. So I did a little more research. I probably would have gotten one that could take more medication. But my dad was very confused, and in doing his medication, it was just getting to the point where he just couldn't do it. It was quite dangerous to let him do his medication on his own. So I got this dispenser, and he's been really happy now. He sees the medication come down, it comes exactly as to what he needs at the various different times of the day. Doing the medication, as many medications as he takes, it was confusing for him. Coming home. So imagine you're carrying a bunch of groceries and you're coming home. You've got a smart lock on the door. There's something called geofencing. Geofencing is when you put a radius around your house. That smart device does a radius around the house as to when it's going to activate or turn off. So you have your geofencing set for maybe 5 feet around the house. Once you cross that plane into that geofencing, the door will unlock. And the thermostat, maybe you've already set it halfway through your workday so that when you get home, it's going to be nice and warm, or if it's hot, the air conditioning is going to kick in. And smart lighting, carrying all these bags, the lights are going on just as you're walking in. And voice commands. You're all done with all of that. You want to sit down and relax. So you sit down in your recliner and you say to a smart device, whether it be a Google device, an Amazon device, or an Apple device, or what have you, and you say, why don't you give me the rundown of the day? So it tells you the news. You say, hey, what's the weather going to be like today? Or maybe even tomorrow. Or everybody has that funny relative that you love getting their emails or their messages. You say, hey, read me all the messages from James. Cooking and eating. This will be discussed at a later time, but these products can assist you with cooking. So I'm going to have Sean Jarvis will be going over these products here. Relaxation and entertainment. Smart speakers. Smart speakers can play anything. You could ask it, you could download a book, have it read you a book. You could have it play music for you, podcasts, all from the voice, all from a command from your voice. And smart TV. A lot of people have smart TVs. You can go on and you could either go on the internet, you can stream different channels. There's a lot you can do with smart TVs. You can even display what's on your phone on the TV. So, in smart lighting, when you want to relax, you can change the lighting. The smart lighting, so you see the picture here, the woman's controlling that light with her finger. And what you do is you can change the lighting colors, you can make it flicker like a candle, but just set the mood just to relax and put an end to your day. At bedtime, again, the thermostat, but it can work differently. I like a cold room. That just makes me sleep better. I love a cold room. So if it's air conditioning, I got to jack it up. If it's winter time, I like to keep the heat a little low. So a smart thermostat, what you could do is you could program it so that while you're going to bed, just as you're falling asleep, you could program it so that it'll start to decrease the temperature. Or if it's summertime, increase the air conditioning so you get a good night's sleep. And the lights, you can also program those to just dim at a certain amount of time so that they dim as you fall asleep. And smart blinds close right at the time in which you head to bed. The security system, right from your phone, you can take your phone laying in bed, make sure you lock the doors. So you check and see if you lock the doors. You're going to check on maybe the floodlight that you have outside with the camera, make sure everything's okay in the yard, and make sure the outdoor lights are on. All from your bed while you're getting ready to fall asleep. Energy efficiency. The smart plugs are great. You can voice activate them, and you can use those from any location in the house. You can voice activate different appliances that you have, different lamps, different things that you have plugged into the wall. And the smart thermostat, again, you can adjust that to different temperatures. If you're at work Why waste all the air conditioning all day? Maybe you want to turn on that air conditioning halfway through the day so that when you get home, it's nice and cool. Or perhaps if it's winter and the heat, you don't have to jack it up to 80. There's nobody home. So maybe you can just reduce the heat. And in doing these things through the use of the smart technology, it allows you to monitor the energy that you're using. If you see the picture right over here with the cell phone, it's actually telling the person how much energy they're using or how much energy they're wasting. Home safety and security. You have the security cameras facing outward to your house. Also, the smart doorbells, the Ring doorbell. I installed one of those in our house, so if my dad would ever leave, I could see what direction he was going in. But I also walked down the neighborhood to see who else had Ring doorbells. Quite a few people did. I walked in both directions, worried that if my dad, ever left confused, I'd be able to find him through the help of my neighbors. So smoke and carbon monoxide detectors, these are great because they can call 911 directly if there's an issue, or it can notify you first that there's an issue going on in your house, give you time to get out. Personal safety with the help of location finders. So these are all GPS enabled. You have the smart watches. Some people have the smart watches. They do a lot of things now. Cell phones, tiles, they also call them buttons. And there's actually some that get inserted in people's shoes. And then again, with the geofencing, what I did was I set a parameter around my house, a radius around my house. So if my dad ever left, I would know. And I'm using a device called Angel Sense. At first, my dad wasn't happy about using it. He said to my mom and I, "You guys just want to know where I am all the time." Well, yeah, we do. We really do. But it made it less stressful for my mom and I. I said to him, I said, "You know what? We are looking to see where you are all the time. I get up and jump out of my chair to go see, where you are if you walked out the front door." I said, "This is going to allow you more freedom because we're not going to be jumping out of our chairs looking to see where you are, asking you questions all the time. We'll be able to see where you are, and you'll have the freedom to go and walk about the house, go downstairs, check out your stamps, do whatever it is that you have to do without somebody, right on top of you all the time." So my dad has seen that it really is beneficial to everyone. And my mom, she can relax. I've seen her relax lately. These devices are just incredible. And when you start combining them, you really get to take back your power. Your family starts to live the life that they were used to. So, tips for getting started. As I just showed you, you could use several different devices. They all do different things. So you take the thermostat, I mentioned that about 3 different times, and it does three different things, many things. So devices can do a lot of things. You just have to see what your need is and see if it can do it. Compatibility. If you're going to buy the devices, if you're going to buy a few devices, make sure that they can communicate with each other. Make sure that they're compatible. Sometimes people like to stick to the same product brand. When you start mixing them up, it could cause problems. But if you can do it, find out before you purchase them. You don't need a lot of products. You can start out small and see how you gradually start to put the products in. Automate routine. So just as I mentioned, the morning routine. Perfect day. Perfect way to start the day. Use your appliances. Use your smart technology to make up certain parts of your day, to make them easier, to make them better, to make them happier, more relaxed. And voice commands. A lot of times when you get these products, your voice, it won't recognize your voice at first. So you have to practice with it and just get it used to seeing your voice. Products have become so advanced that they quickly pick up on your voice now. We have the Amazon Show in the house, which is the first thing I installed, and it is a great thing. But the three of us could be talking, and it knows who I am immediately. It's Patricia, so it picks me out of anyone else talking. So it's recognized my voice. It was very beneficial because my dad used to ask my mom a lot of questions. And usually it was the same question several times over and over again. The thing about the show and products similar to that is that you can ask it the same question all day. It's not going to get frustrated or annoyed with you. It's just going to answer your question. So it's a solution. It's a solution to an issue or a barrier or a challenge that my mom was facing. So thank you very much. I hope you guys use these smart products, and I hope you guys just really start opening your eyes to what you can do with these products in your house. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Patricia, and thanks for sharing how assistive technology has been helpful to you. So now you may be thinking, how do I go about figuring out what might work for me? And so I'm going to turn it over to Kristen Gilfeather, who can talk a little bit about AT assessments and share a little bit about how some of the work she's done has had an impact on people. Welcome, Kristen.
Thank you so much. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, just want to make sure that loaded and everyone can see my slide. Can you guys see
We
that?
can. Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay, so as Patricia was sharing, she was talking about a lot of different amazing smart home technology, but I wanted to highlight some specific technology that we've been able to implement with one of our clients, Andrew. And then I'll talk about a little bit more about assistive technology assessments and how you can go about that. So Andrew is a client that I had the pleasure of working with, and he had received a variety of technology. So in the first picture on the left, you can see that Andrew received the Amazon Echo Show 10. The difference between the Echo Shows, the shows are the ones that have a screen on them. So the Echo Show 10 specifically has the ability to turn. It rotates around. And in this picture specifically, Andrew is actually practicing making a face-to-face call. He was about to call his mom in this picture specifically, and he was really excited that he was going to be able to contact her when the time was appropriate to check in with her, and also receive calls as well. So this was a piece of technology that we were able to get set up for Andrew through the DDS program. Additionally, we were able to get Andrew an iPad, which is the second picture that you can see here in the middle. The middle picture has where we set up an application called Attainment Go Visual. Attainment Go Visual allows for you to break down tasks and separate them into small segments to help build independence. So Andrew is working on a task in the kitchen here, and these are small video segments that he's practicing on increasing his independence with. So this is really important to Andrew because this is something that he really wants to get better at. And the Attainment Go Visual app is something with his job coach that he is able to work on. So he's able to independently navigate this application now that it's been set up for him, watch himself do these steps, listen to the narration that has been put into place, and then follow the steps in real time. Obviously, it's on an iPad, so it can be moved to various locations. He can have a variety of different things in here, even smaller tasks, things like doing laundry. There are so many different things that can be set up through this application. So it was originally set up for, him to be doing tasks in the kitchen, but there's also other things that we've come up with that could be done, but it's a really exciting application. And when you kind of back out of this screen, it gives you a library of different tasks with pictures on them for individuals who might need that visual cue as well. So that's a really great way to help users kind of build their independence and have that support there so that they can do these things that they really want to be able to do. The other application that you can see to the side, there is something called Job Coaching on Demand. That's just a visual showing some of the videos, and those can help and have been really helpful for Andrew working on his dog walking business. That's something that's really important to Andrew as well, is building those skills so that he can have successful dog walking business. He's been able to watch videos of how to interact with people, how to build relationships on a professional setting. So he can watch these videos, he can do trainings through the application and learn some of these different skills. I also wanted to highlight that Andrew was able to receive an Apple Watch as well. I don't have any awesome pictures of it. It's a little bit hard to capture in a visual like this, but the Apple Watch was freeing in a way for Andrew because it allowed for his caregivers to feel like he was able to go out into the community and they didn't have to worry so much about him getting lost. It was a good way for him to have some navigation with GPS monitoring and things like that. If he forgot his phone, it was not going to be that big of a deal. There was just a lot of extra support built in by having something like an Apple Watch for him. So assistive technology has been very powerful for Andrew and given him a lot of independence, even things like putting routines in place for Andrew on his Echo Show 10. Wake up routines, reminding him to clean his room, things like that have been really helpful for Andrew. So we've been able to do this through DDS with the assistive technology assessments, going out into the homes and helping to kind of process through what it is that people are in need of. What is it that they are looking to accomplish in their homes? Is it that they need help with support in their job tasks or independent living skills, or is it that they need support with something else? And how can assistive technology help support that? How can assistive technology help gain or maintain independence? And processing through that for them and then determining how and what assistive technology tools would be the most beneficial to them. It's been amazing to go out and figure out these tools and then help implement them as well. So not only have we picked out these tools, we've been able to go back out and install these tools, set up the Echo Show 10, teach people like Andrew how to make those phone calls and set up those routines for them so that it's not just giving them technology. It's really that follow through piece as well. That's part of that assistive technology assessment, which is really almost more important, I think, than finding the right technology. It's that follow through piece to make sure that it's working and it's being carried through. So we've been had a lot of success with these people, with these cases, and being able to go out and do this technology. We've had so many success stories already, and it's just been really rewarding for everybody involved. So we get to do this, and our contact information, I put the NEAT DDS email on the slide here, so you guys will have access to that if you guys have questions about how to go about, getting an assistive technology assessment. But yeah, that's pretty much the exciting success story that I wanted to share with you today about Andrew.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Kristen shared that story. We were in a meeting a few weeks back, and it was, I think, the excitement was contagious, and so we asked her to join us here today and share that. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So if you're thinking, how would I know, what is available and what it looks like, and could I try it out? I'd like to introduce Sean Charvis. Sean is with DDS, our IFS respite program, and he's going to talk a little bit about our respite centers and what they have available as far as assistive technology. So welcome, Sean. It's good to see you.
Same here. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner. My name is Sean Charvis. I am the DDS Respite Coordinator for the North Region. Give me 1 second. I am attempting to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, my screen is not sharing for some reason. Kyle, do you happen to have what I sent you?
Yep, I'll pull it up right now.
Thank you.
No problem.
So I run 4 respite centers here in the North Region. Thank you so much. I have a respite center in the Newington area, the Stores, Windsor, and Putnam area. And I have probably the best job in the world because I'm able to work with families that really, really need a break from caregiving, and also the individuals that are being supported by their families to also have time away so that they can just relax. One of my favorite quotes is on the screen there from Maya Angelou. Each person deserves a day away in which no problems are confronted, no solutions are searched for. And that is sort of the epitome of what respite is. And I really, really do enjoy my job. I love all of my 400 plus families that I support. You can flip the next slide, Kyle. Thank you. So today I'm going to talk real briefly about what assistive technology means in our respite centers. Kristen and Patricia did a really good job of explaining everything that I'm going to explain again to you, but more or less talking a little bit about what we do in respite and how we bring assistive technology into our respite centers. Back in 2019, we started upgrading all of our respite centers with low tech assistive technology devices. And I can tell you it was an epitome for a lot of these families because they didn't realize that a lot of these devices existed. And we were trying to focus on devices that are user friendly for both the individuals and also for the families. And so we picked items that are pretty popular with folks these days in their own homes. And so we wanted to see how this was going to affect our respite guests, and with hopes that if they really did enjoy it and they really latched on to the technology, that maybe the families would be interested in possibly purchasing these things for their own home. So assistive technology could be a wide range of different things. Keyboards, software, wheelchairs, walkers, anything that's going to improve the functional capability of a person with disability is considered assistive technology. So that's what we're trying to bring into our respite centers. Okay, next slide. So, and again, like I mentioned before, we really wanted to show the families very inexpensive ways to use assistive technology. A lot of our families are starting to move into the direction of their child gaining more independence, possibly moving into their own apartment. And so we wanted to show them different things that they could possibly utilize if their child is going to be moving into a more independent living environment. So again, these devices are really, really helpful with that. Okay, next one. So basically, a lot of the stuff that we use is what everybody has in their own home. We all of our assistive technology devices operate on Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, And so these are just common symbols that we use in our respite centers. I have to say, when we first started doing a lot of this introduction to assistive technology, I had to sit with my staff and in-service them on a lot of this stuff. And a lot of them really didn't take to the technology at first. It was kind of difficult for them, but I encouraged them to, every time they came into the respite center, to do a task or to try out one of the devices for themselves and see, you know, how easy these things are. And after a while, it started to become second nature for them. So now they're slowly getting into the groove of, you know, being able to showcase these devices with the guests that come into the respite center. Okay, next. You can skip to the next one. I'm sorry. So I'm just going to show you some of the devices that we are using in the respite centers right now. And again, when folks come to our respite centers, they come from Thursday to Monday, so they have a full weekend of being able to utilize these devices. So what you see in front of you is 3 of the devices that we're currently using in our respite centers. I think everybody knows the Nintendo Switch. A lot of our respite guests are young teenagers, early 20s, and they're all into the video game. So each of our respite centers have a Nintendo Switch game console that they can, you know, utilize and they can play with. We also have another device called the Echo Glow, which is a light that you can program. If you know, like my daughter, both of my kids, when they go to sleep at night, they have to have a certain light on, a certain mood light on. So my son likes to sleep in a blue color room and my daughter likes to sleep in a green color room. So the Echo Glow is something that you can program to, when your child is ready for bed, you can program it to show a certain color for them while they're sleeping. Or if you want to change the mood of a room, you can program that and it'll show different types of colors that, you know, you can choose from. And the Echo Dot is another, you know, device that we have in each room of our respite centers. And again, it's like Patricia mentioned before, you can ask it anything. If you want to know what the weather is, you want to know who won the basketball game last night or football game, you can ask it anything and it'll pretty much tell you. And it also has a clock display and an alarm on it. So it's pretty cool when folks come to the respite center that they have these in their rooms. Okay, next. And so these are the other devices that Kristen and Patricia mentioned that they also utilize. We have an Echo Dot. We have fire tablets in our respite centers. If some of our folks come that are nonverbal, and so they have communication apps that they use at home or in their day program, and they can load those apps onto our fire tablets and use that as, you know, their communication device as well. We also have the Echo Show, and the other one, we also have the Echo Show 10 that Kristen was talking about. And the great thing about those is, what I told my staff is, if you're in the kitchen and the guests want to, you know, get themselves involved in cooking, you can use the Echo Show to, you know, do a recipe. So one of the things we did is we asked Alexa to show us a recipe for chocolate chip cookies, and on the screen it showed the recipe and it gave us all the ingredients. Well, the next thing that you can do with something like that is you can say, Alexa, can you show us a video of how to make chocolate chip cookies? And it will show you step by step through video how to make chocolate chip cookies, which I thought was really, really cool. And so we've incorporated a lot of our meal prep stuff into the Echo Show. Any type of learning project that, you know, the guest wants to get involved with, we incorporate a lot of the stuff into our Alexa devices. And we also have a smart plug, which is something that, you know, you can plug into anything in your home, and you can program it to activate on voice command. And that's something that we have in our respite centers. You know, someone could walk in a room and say, you know, Alexa, turn on my living room light, and boom, it'll turn it on. So that's a really, really cool device. Okay. Next slide. Okay, yep, thank you. So the other thing we have in all of our respite centers is we've equipped all our respite centers with cameras on the outside of our facilities. Not for, you know, spying on anyone, but just for security purposes. And so each of our respite centers have a camera on each entrance, and it pretty much covers the whole perimeter of the property. And the reason why we have these is because we have a lot of really expensive items in our respite centers, and we want to make sure that we have added security. But these this Ring device is really, really good. You can program it to set an alarm when you leave your home. It will give you about, I don't know, 30 or 40 seconds when you arm it to leave your home. And once you leave your home, it's all set. And when you come back, you have a few, you know, like I said, like 20 or 30 seconds to get in and punch in the code so to disarm the alarm. But this is a really, really good device too. And you know, again, these are things that, you know, we present to our families to see if it's something that they want to utilize in you know, at home for what if their children are moving into a more independent um, environment. We also have sensors for the windows and for the doors. Some of the other things that we're putting into our respite centers are air quality little devices, so it'll measure the air quality in our respite centers. If, you know, we have these other devices that we put near our water sources in our respite centers. So if there's a flood, a sensor will go off and let us know that, you know, the sink in the bathroom is leaking. So, you know, we'll know to, you know, take care of that when it happens. So there's just a lot of different things that we put into the respite center that, you know, we really want to showcase to the families. Okay, next slide, please. And again, this just talks about the cameras and the window and the door sensors. You can go on to the next one. So one of our newest items that we have in our respite centers is called the June Smart Oven. This oven is amazing because I remember the first time they mentioned that we were going to, you know, be putting these into our respite centers. We were like, well, what can a smart oven do that, you know, none of us are able to do? And we had an opportunity to go and go to a presentation on the smart oven and demonstrate some of the things that it can do. And it's a really, really awesome device. This thing actually, you don't even need a cookbook when you are using, you know, this smart oven. All you have to do is, if you want to make salmon and asparagus dinner, all you have to do is just enter the ingredients in this thing and just hit start, and it will automatically set the temperature for you, and it will tell you how long it's going to cook for, and it will do all that on its own. It actually has a camera on the inside so that you can keep an eye on the food while it's cooking inside this oven. And there's just like a list of things that it can do. It's a convection oven. It's an air fryer. You can grill, you can roast, you can slow cook. It's a dehydrator. It's a toaster. It's a reheater. It's a pizza oven. You can make pizza in these things. You can, if you're making bread, it'll you know, raise the bread for you while you're, you know, while you're waiting. It's a broiler. I mean, there's so many things that this device can do. And again, we expose our guests to these things and have them get involved in you know, playing around with these things, because there's really, really, really helpful items if someone is really, you know, into doing things more independently. So we're really excited about, you know, the stuff that we're using in our respite centers. And, you know, I've gotten nothing but positive feedback from our families that come to the respite centers. they really, I mean, they love the fact that their children can, participate in using some of these devices. And, we're just really excited that we're able to provide this to families. We do have coming up, we do have an open house in a few of our respite centers. And Kyle, could you put up that information? It's a save the date. We have 3 dates coming up over the next few months where we're going to be having an open house for our families to come and actually see these devices in use. So they can come to the respite center and, someone will be there, myself will be there, and we will sort of do a demonstration of all the devices that we're using in the respite center. So if you are interested in attending any of these events, these are the dates that we are asking you to save the date. At a later time, we will be providing you with the times when these open houses are going to be occurring. So if you're interested, just wait for that time, and we'll get that information out to you. I think that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Sean. And when you said this started in 2019,
Yeah,
was
with
it
the
that
respite
long?
centers. Yeah.
I think about how much has happened over the last 5 years, and I know you were
Yes.
one of the early adopters in terms of really, really providing confidence that, hey, this technology is there for everyone to use. And so when I think about how much has been added over the last 5 years, I really am excited that we're going to be able to open up our respite centers as demo centers. So people who utilize respite have been utilizing all of this equipment, but now we're opening up the respite centers, and these open houses are a great opportunity to come out, see this technology, and handle it, play with it, try it out, and it's going to really open it up to more people. So thank you.
You're welcome.
And the flyer with the save the date will be posted on our website, and we'll have more information as far as times and locations. But note those dates in your calendar if you're interested. And we do have 12 respite centers across the state. So Sean is with the North region. We have 4 respite centers per region. And so there's pretty much a respite center near you, no matter where you are in the state. All right. Now I'm going to turn it over to Kyle Corbin from Safe and Home in Home. Kyle has joined us previously, but is going to talk a little bit about remote support in the family home. So welcome, Kyle.
Thank you. Try to share my screen as well. All
We can
right, there
see
we
it.
go. Good. As mentioned, I'm Kyle Corbin. I am with Safe and Home. We are a remote support provider across the country. It's a little bit about me. Before I did that, I worked for the state of Ohio Developmental Disabilities and helped them get their technology piece up and running. Before that, I ran a provider agency for a number of years, started off doing direct care. So I've touched on a little bit of everything, gives me a little bit of a unique perspective. Asked here today to kind of talk about what remote support looks like in a 24/7 setting. And I thought we'd start with what's the difference really between remote support and assistive technology. Those are certainly terms that you can hear interchanged a lot. Really the biggest difference is that assistive technology is the item. It's the piece of equipment that you buy, whether that's from Amazon or you get it from the respite center or wherever, but it's going to assist you throughout your day. All of us use assistive technology, whether it's our cell phones, whether it's traffic lights driving around, like all of those pieces of things fit together. The difference with that and what remote support looks like is remote support is a system. It's really a staffing model that just uses technology as a way to connect the individual with the staff. It's no different than having staff in your home. The only difference is they are there via screen as opposed to in person. So it really builds on the support of the person, and it's a system that is designed around what is important to and what is important for each person that is served. It's built into the individualized service plan. We work together with the individual, their family, the case manager, all of the important people in that person's life to ensure that they are getting the service that they want and need, and it helps them build independence. It's available 24/7, so there can be specific monitoring times that are set up in place where there's a few hours. Here's a great example for someone who's facing adult life transition, student to adult life transition. They're going to work. They still live at home with mom and dad. They are going to work. They get home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Mom and dad don't get home until 5. Maybe they live 45 minutes out of town. And it's very difficult to get a provider to come out and handle those 2 hours. Remote support is a great fit for that time period to provide that additional supervision that is needed, but alleviates that issue of trying to get a staff person that's going to drive back and forth for just a couple hours of service. It really is a great model for transition age youth, as they've grown up with iPads and iPhones and in their hands since they were 2, and are very creative with technology and very cognizant of its uses. So what does it mean? What's it work? What's it look like? How does it all fit together? So remote support uses assistive technology, and it uses it by pairing different items throughout the home to address, again, specific needs of the individual. So what does that mean? So let's say we're building a system for me, and we know that I have a seizure disorder, which causes a fall risk. And so we want to ensure that when I'm going through the home, that if I do have a fall or if I have a seizure that leads to a fall, that someone's going to be aware and they're going to know that it has occurred and that I can be safely checked on. They also know that in the past, I have let people into the home that may not have my best interests in mind and have caused me some harm in the past. And so we want to ensure that that doesn't occur and what that might look like. And we also know that I want to be more independent in the kitchen. I want to be able to do more cooking on my own, go through recipes, plan those steps and processes out. So what might that system look like? So we could attack this a number of different ways. Again, it really depends on what makes sense for the individual and the family, but say we put motion sensors throughout the home and that track how often that I'm moving throughout the house. And if a motion sensor is triggered in the hallway and then another motion sensor isn't triggered elsewhere, that could alert that maybe a fall's happened. So that would send what we call a stuck alert to our staff, who then could reach out to the individual and me in this case and say, hey, is everything okay? And I can either respond, yeah, I'm just working on something here, or oh, I've had a fall, can you send me some assistance? Or if there's no response, maybe the next step is we call emergency services. Again, that would all be kind of laid out in the plan prior to any services being put in place. Very rarely are cameras utilized through these systems. Oftentimes it is sensors, but if there is a reason to use a camera in a specific instance, those cameras are not put in places of expected privacy. They're not going to be in the bedroom. They're not going to be in the bathroom. They're only going to be in common areas. And again, it's going to be designed around the team and the plan for that individual and what that looks like. So let me give you an example of that. Again, very rarely do we utilize cameras, but we have one gentleman that we work with, and he has a pretty significant fall risk. He likes to sit at a table in his dining room and put puzzles together, and he will sit there for hours at a time. So he does have motion sensors throughout his house that track movement. And if there's no movement throughout his home for 20 minutes, it signals an alert to our staff that there may be an issue. So staff will then turn on the camera, they'll look, and that camera is positioned directly over this gentleman's dining room table where he does his puzzles, and they can see if he's sitting there and doing his puzzles. If they see that, they log it, they document it, and they cancel out that alert. He didn't want to be contacted every 20 minutes. He didn't want to be bothered, but he did want to make sure that people knew that he was safe. So this is an inobtrusive way to just double check that everything going on is fine. Again, odd example, cameras not used that often, but all of those sensors are proprietary information, use proprietary software to send information to our staff, to each other, to really address what's going on at the home, so that there's a picture of how things are being taken care of. So what are some of the possible solutions? What can remote support look like? Well, medication management certainly is one of them, and it can be something as simple as using a med minder or an electronic pill dispenser, or it could be something as complex as utilizing FaceTime on the tablet so that our staff can watch the individual take the pills to ensure that they have been taken properly and in the right quantity. Overnight support is a great one. Oftentimes we have staff, in-person staff that are in homes just in case things happen, or maybe something happened 15 years ago, and we want to make sure that doesn't happen again, so we continue to staff. But those staff, those different things that those staff are doing can certainly be done remotely, and so that's an option of being looked at. Visitor safety, we talked about a bit. That could be something like we have a Ring camera in place. Say this individual has people that have come to his house and done him harm in the past, we can have a list of those folks, and if one of them shows up at the home, it will identify them by picture, and then we can either notify the individual, hey, this person is here, or mom and dad, or in some cases, if there's a restraining order, say, they can call the police immediately. Kitchen safety is another one. We talked about how to I want to be a little more independent in the kitchen, so that could be utilizing my staff remotely through there to walk through different recipes. It could be putting sensors on the stove. If I forget to turn the stove off and walk away, that if it gets too hot or if it's on too long, it automatically turns off. Same thing with the sink. If I forget to turn the sink off, we can put a sensor on there so that if the water runs for a certain length of time, that it automatically shuts off. There's numerous different aspects of what could be done within the kitchen. Seizure management's another good one. We have a seizure watch that will identify if someone is having a significant seizure. It can track that, send that to the doctor's office, if there's issues, again, can send that to staff or mom and dad or whomever makes sense for that individual. So all of those pieces really kind of work together as different solutions. So I want to show a quick video, just what it really looks like for somebody that has remote support in their home and they have access to it 24/7, and what that can mean to them. I want to make sure that the sound is working. So hopefully, is everyone hearing that okay?
Yes, Kyle.
We are.
Wonderful, thank you. So great picture kind of what it actually looks like for someone who needs that level of service and, gets nervous. Hey, I can push a button to call. If I wake up in the middle of the night and I hear a noise, I can reach out and staff are there and they're available. They can check. So if I say I have sensors in the home, hey, is there any movement? I thought I heard a noise. Nothing going on. Everything looks good. You're safe. So those are really good things that, for my kids, I feel it makes me feel better. And I know that does for others as well. Talked a bit about the staff. One thing I wanted to point out with the staff is all of our staff, all of our support staff are located in a HIPAA compliant environment. So we have a facility in Tempe, Arizona. We have one in Walnut Creek, California, and it is HIPAA compliant, badge in, badge out, clean desk site. The staff are supervised 24/7 so that we are certain that they are having interactions that are expected, that they're meeting the qualifications. They are part of the team. They know the individual's ISP. It comes up on the screen with information whenever a phone call comes in. People are creatures of habit, and they tend to call in around the same time, or they have scheduled calls around the same time. So the staff get to know the individual gets to know the staff. So there's still a rapport, a human connection there with those individuals and that staff. Another great aspect of it is the weekly reports, the support notes. Anytime there's an interaction with an individual, anytime there's an interaction with a device that sends a notification, our staff will then document that, and that is available then for the team to review. I mentioned that I ran a provider agency for a number of years. One of the things that what drove me crazy the most was, I would go out and check the book at the end of the day to see how shifts were going. And I'd have a staff person that spent 8 hours working with an individual, and in the book, what I would get was had a great day. Oh, I'm glad they had a great day, but what does that mean? What did that look like? What occurred during that day to make that a great day? How can we replicate that again for someone else? With this system, all of those are identified. They're sortable. There's a website that you get a password and a login to download. You can check the data. You can sort it. You can look at different things. We've been able to identify somebody that has pre-diabetes and have been able to give that information to the doctor because they were using the restroom an inordinate amount of times during the day. We can track sleep patterns because movement in the house will be able to see how often someone is actually up during the night and if they're sleeping or not. So a lot of that really comes in handy and is useful for helping someone be healthier and be more independent. So what does it look like? How do you get there? How do you start? The first thing that happens is a consultation is requested. And whether that's through the family or through the case manager or the family to the case manager, who then reaches out to a remote support agency, however that happens, that occurs. And once that occurs, then a proposal is written up, and that occurs with a meeting, right? So that is account executive sits down with the family, with the team, goes over what's important to, what's important for, and then puts together, here's the technology that makes sense, here's the hours that we think would make sense, and here's how it'll be incorporated into the person's plan. That's then submitted for approval to the state. Once that approval happens, installation occurs. All installation done with Safe and Home is done through our own field service team that are Safe and Home employees, and we utilize them because we have trained them. So we know the interactions that they're going to have with individuals in their home. We know that they know our system inside and out, and that when they leave, that everyone who needs to use that equipment will be trained on that equipment and know how to make sure it works. And then if anything goes wrong, so if it breaks down, something disappears, whatever happens, they'll be the ones who come out to replace that equipment again and then make sure it's up and running. And so once all that occurs, then service is ready to start. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I got a little QR code here for people who are interested. There are multiple videos that we have on our site, and this will lead you to those.
Thank you so much, Kyle. I think similar to the 5-year trajectory of getting assistive technology in our respite centers, we've been working on remote supports for a number of years, and it feels like it's come together. We're excited to see remote support options being more available to people. And we anticipate this fall that we will be expanding remote support options, particularly for young adults that have just come out of the school system and are looking to really optimize independence. So more information to come on that. All right, our final presenters. We have with us Jenny, who's going to talk a little bit about assistive technology in your home, and you're joined by your mom, Karen, and Melinda. So welcome. It's good to see you all.
Hi.
Hi
What's
there.
up, Lily?
Bailey, is Bailey with you?
Lily.
Oh,
Lily. My
Lily.
dog.
Yeah, I
So
know. I have Olive that pipes up every now and then too. So you're going to talk a little bit about assistive technology in your home?
How do you use it?
Yeah, so you got an echo show. Tell her. Talk to her.
So how long have you have an Echo Show?
Yeah, she does.
How do you use the Echo Show?
Tell her how to use it.
I use it all the time.
What do you do with it?
I talk on it.
Yeah. Do you ask questions?
Oh, yeah. I have to shut it off all the time. She gets it singing so loud. I have to go and ask Alexa to shut it off.
Do you play
She gets it
music
all
on it?
And we talk to Mindy on it all the time.
Awesome.
We've
How
had
do you use?
problems with her medicine. That's the only way we could calm her down is with Mindy.
And how do you use it to call Mindy?
She calls twice a week to see how she's doing all her stuff. And asking
So-
how she's doing during her day at her program and how she does that other stuff.
So the call comes through on the Echo Show
Yes,
and you can answer it.
yes,
Uh,
she pushes the button. It says northeast placement. And Mindy gets in and
Awesome.
talks to her and tells her if she does something wrong. She don't want me to tell her. That's how we communicate.
So it sounds like it's pretty helpful.
Sure is. It helped me a lot.
Mhm.
So about a
And
year
Jenny,
and a
did,
half-
oh,
Sorry.
I had one question. Jenny, did you say you play music on it too?
Yep.
And then you
Tell
can
you
sing
what.
along with it?
She tries to get me to shut it off because it's time for Mindy to call and she gets it going. And I gotta try and shut it off before she gets on.
It's hard to answer the phone when the music's blasting.
Hurry up, Mindy's gonna call.
So about a year and a half ago, Karen had reached out to her case manager because they were having a lot of tension in the house. Around, especially in the nighttime, doing meds, taking showers, all the ADLs to get ourselves finished up for the day and ready for the next day. And it was just a lot for their relationships, right? So case management reached out and we started with a grant. And we got the Echo Show 10 for them. And we started 5 days a week. And then as things got better, we went to 4. And right now we're down to 2. So as Jenny has really taken to the program, we call in, we have a scheduled time every night. And she knows when the call is coming. She knows what to expect. When we call, it's a great opportunity for her to really process her day, her feelings, anything that might have happened the day or since the last time we talked. And it's been a great tool to kind of lessen the stress around the house, which was our ultimate goal. And I know at her IP last May or this May, we were like, the amount that Jen has really matured, we're all just so proud of you. And it's really been great to watch over the last year.
That is fantastic. Congratulations, Jen.
I had to change her medicine because it was too low down and she was going way out of hand. And I had to call her up to get her to talk on it so I could get her to straighten out. And now I got her medicine changed. She's doing a heck of a lot better. And she went to a new program and she's doing a lot better.
Yeah, the
That's
family knows
awesome.
if there's any behavioral issues or anything going on, they can call and reach out anytime.
That's awesome.
It comes right to the agency, but through me. Yeah, and it's been a wonderful tool for the family.
It's interesting how a device like that, one device, that's pretty much the device in the home that you're using. And you're using it for entertainment, you're using it to release stress, you're using it to communicate. That's amazing. And it sounds like it's really been great. It sounds like you're doing great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's an awesome example about how one
You know,
device can
Another
make a
time
big
she's
difference.
call, she knows the time she's gonna call and she has to have everything done she's supposed to do. And if she don't, I have to tell Mindy.
And that takes you out of that role, right?
Exactly.
That's and so it allows you to just be mom and
Get on
daughter.
there, and she made him have a list made, what she's gotta do around the house, and she's been doing it without me telling her anything.
That is fantastic.
Flowers, whenever she needs one, I don't even tell her.
And Jenny, do you find it's helpful to have your own list? You can just kind of follow and do what you need to do without having somebody telling you what you need to be doing?
Yep.
It gives you some control there. That's awesome.
Yep.
It's a great alternative to having staff physically come in, which the family's just not ready for. So it's been a
Yeah.
great solution.
I think that's an awesome example of how a device like that can serve many purposes, and one little device has had an impact on the whole family.
Oh, it sure did. It was great. I couldn't
I
ask for a
can,
better.
and Mindy, it sounds like it's been good too.
She's been helping a lot with me, straightening it right out. She knows. She said, I'll call Mindy. She said, no, you don't. And that's how she straightened out.
Well, the three of you seem to be working well together.
She's not swearing anymore, hardly, on nothing, not talking back, not being fresh, being quiet sometimes.
So Jenny, if you were to give advice to someone else, say they were feeling like that they need something to help them be a little more independent, like you've become, do you have any advice?
Tell me the advice.
No swearing in the house, no arguing,
No,
no
what you
fighting.
tell them to do? Get a new machine.
No fighting, no arguing, and no calling people names like that. Fight every day. No, like, no, don't do that.
It makes for a much more peaceful home. Well, just
Yeah.
the fact that you've done it and you're sharing your story helps other people. It gives them ideas of what might work for them. So I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Yep.
Keep doing what you're doing. It sounds like you're doing really, really well.
Yep. I love my dog, Lily. I feed her, help her out like that, play ball with her like that.
Yeah, your dog?
She is 8 years old.
Ah,
She's a big girl and a pug. She howl at me every morning. She does.
does she? It's
Oh,
nice
yeah.
to have that constant companion
She
too.
wants me all the time with that. Follow me around everywhere I go. She does.
You can't ask for more than that, I'll tell you.
And does what she's told and does all her lists.
I take my
She
pill.
can have a,
Listen, Mom. I take my blue pill for my dog every morning.
You take care of her? Well,
Yeah.
good for you. That's a
I feel
lot of
some-
responsibility.
give her a sticker when she does all her jobs she's supposed to do. And knocks them off. I give her a sticker and she puts it on the calendar for that day. She does good.
It sounds like you're doing fantastic. I
Yeah.
really appreciate you
Lost
coming on
about
and sharing
18
your
pounds.
story.
She lost
Lost
13
weight.
pounds from being in this new program.
Wow. The good
Yeah.
news just keeps coming and coming. It's one good thing after another. You sound like you're just in such a good place. And that smile tells 1,000 words.
That
Good.
we have Rosemary on Saturday, Caitlin on Thursday and Friday, Caitlin going to fair with Caitlin Friday on with our fair.
So you've got some good social things going on as well, huh?
Oh, Rosemary does. She does a lot with those kids. She takes another client out. When
Name
she
it,
goes.
the name is Alex.
Alex?
Alex. And he worked on that with me, on my same band with me.
So you guys go out and do some fun things together?
Yeah,
They
every
do.
different Saturday we do, yeah, we do.
You sound like you have a very rich life going on.
Before she gets on her phone, she knows everything what's going on and where to go and do stuff with these two.
How do you
See,
keep all your,
Listen,
She'll bring her in and he'll do fist bumps with you. And then she'll have supper after with us.
yeah,
We eat Saturday night out and that's when she comes back in.
Saturday I take her out, she's sick now. Rosemary is home sick.
oh, I'm sorry to hear that. How do you
I-
keep track of all your activities?
Yeah,
How do you keep track of all your activities? It seems like you have a lot going on.
yeah. I have my pocket. I have my walk-in monitor right there.
So you can
And
see how
I-
many,
Night, write down, tell us I did every night, write down, keep track of it.
steps you did?
Sometimes 5,000 steps.
2184.
I'm at, you got me beat. I'm at 2072.
You got me.
Well, good for you. You're taking care of your health.
How are Peter doing?
How's who doing?
My social worker.
You don't know, Peter.
I don't know Peter, I don't think.
So tell him I said hello if you.
She don't know him,
No,
she said.
meet him sometime, you should.
If I ever run into him. Now I know.
Yeah.
And then she goes down to a camp, Winnabow.
Oh, one of my favorite places on earth. Are you an alumni?
Yeah, she sure is. She's been there since she was 3.
That's fantastic.
Now, she's been there since she was 3.
I was just there a couple weeks ago. Hey, Jenny, it sounds like you have a lot of great things going on in your life. And it
Yeah.
sounds like technology has kind of brought it all together.
Sure did.
Well, thank you so much.
I play Tuesday, I play bocce.
You play bocce?
Yeah, Rick Hayden picked me up, take me there every Tuesday. Tuesday, no bocce. There are 2 more games done. Going far away, did
Metal.
a medal. How much we probably have. Me and Johanna play together. My
Is that
partner.
through Special Olympics?
Yeah.
That's tremendous.
Yeah.
You got a lot of great things going on. You have,
Take them out to Point Breeze to dance.
Right here, she does.
you're inspiring me to get out of my chair and do some new things. You're a very busy lady.
I
Point
eat
Breeze
it too.
brings it home.
Right
And they go
Yeah.
out there and have
Behind
supper and
me.
everything. She
Well, I
does a lot.
can tell why you're doing so well. You have a lot of really good things going on in your life.
Yep.
It's important to have fun.
Yep.
So thank you.
All
for
right.
the Story.
What's that?
Well, thank you for letting us share the story.
Well, thank you for coming on. And now I think at this point, we're going to turn it over to questions and answers and see if we have anybody who has any questions. So let's see what we have here. There have been some questions in the chat. So I'm going to go back up to the top. There was a question for Kristen around when she was, Kristen, when you were talking about the assessment and trying out new technology. I know sometimes people can be a little nervous or it can be a little overwhelming. And so I had asked what you do as far as providing reassurance. And for those of you who can't see the chat, Kristen said that folks have support all along the way. And it sounds like similar to what Mindy has done with Jenny, provide some reassurance, help with getting the technology set up, showing and supporting on how to use it, and then providing that ongoing support so that people have instructions, or Kristen says, of course, making sure that they know how to reach out if they have any questions or if they get stuck. There was a question for Sean. Sean, how are the AT devices at understanding speech? Because everybody speaks a little differently. Is there a learning curve for Alexa, or having patience and repeating until the device understands, especially because you have so many different guests that come through the respite center? Have you seen improvement from past versions?
Yeah, one of the great features of the Alexa devices, I think Patricia mentioned is that it learns your voice over time. There's always a learning curve when it comes to these devices. There are many apps that you can use on we have the iPads. I forgot to mention we also have iPads in our respite centers. There are different communication apps that you can use, that folks can use. So yeah, there's always the opportunity for people to gradually gain more knowledge with some of the devices. But the Echo devices and the Amazon devices, they're pretty friendly when it comes to that stuff. So, and my staff are there to also help and training people and getting them used to the devices, if that answers your question.
I think it does. And I know, and we have some AT folks on the call, there are some specific devices if somebody has a speech impediment, some specific devices that are very, very sophisticated in terms of understanding speech. And so that may be beneficial if somebody has a particular need. Thanks, Sean. Rebecca?
I was just going to mention that recently Kristen did a webinar on that very topic, and using communication devices and coordinating those with like an Alexa and anything that is voice command. And so we can share a link to the presentation so folks can watch that if they need to.
That would be great. And if you share that link with Kyle Fishbein, we'll make sure that we post it as well. That would be, I think that would be really helpful. Appreciate that. There was a question about the June oven. The June oven is off the market, and June was purchased by Weber. And so that is noted, but we're not endorsing any particular brand. We're just showing a number of options. And so there are some other options that have similar features to the June oven. And those are listed in the chat. Some positive, just kudos as far as all the information that was shared. And as far as alternatives to the June oven, Kristen, I noted you mentioned the Brava, and additionally, well, why don't you talk about these other options that you were sharing?
Sure. So I was just noting that there are additional smart air fryers that they kind of look like toaster ovens, but they're smart air fryers that have 12 additional functions on them. So like bake, broil, etc. And they are Alexa enabled, so you can speak commands to them, or also use smart buttons to send commands to them. So if you were looking for something similar to a June oven, that might be a way to go as well. And they're a little more affordable compared to the June or the Brava. So those are ones that we like to look into as well.
Awesome. And there was a question, Kyle, for you. Is Safe and Home used in households with more than one person, or such as a couple?
Yes, absolutely. That is certainly an option. It can be utilized by both people. It can be utilized by one. It's very flexible and able to be customized to the needs of each situation.
Thanks. And I might mention, we're also, we also look at remote support as an option within a home, a family home. So the remote supports would be customized around that particular need, but even in larger households, remote supports might be an option that might work. And then Jenny, kudos for you. It says, sounds like you are living your best life. Congratulations. So thank you for sharing your story. And there's a question from Sylvia. Is the AT at the DDS respite centers available for each guest in their room or only in the common spaces? John, you want to talk a little bit about, I see you said both, but a little bit about that?
Yeah, each respite center room has a flat screen television, and it also has the Echo Glow and also the Echo Dot, and so guests can utilize those devices in their room. In our main common area, we do have other Echo devices that people can use, and we also have a Fire TV cube that is also voice command too. So folks, if someone wants to watch something on Netflix, let's say, they can just say, Alexa, turn on Netflix, and it'll pop the movie on automatically or pop the show on automatically. So that feature is available in all of our respite centers in the main rooms. But yes, they can utilize the devices in their rooms as well.
Thank you. For the first time, Alexa in my house heard her name being, I was expecting her to respond throughout this presentation. It just happened for the first time. And Adriana, Rebecca, you mentioned AAC devices working well with Alexa type devices. Adriana had a question in terms of compatibility. You mentioned the webinar.
I can answer that.
Okay.
Because I did the webinar. So
Okay.
it really depends on the specific device that is being used in addition to the software that's being used on the device. And then we kind of talk about some different tips and tricks in the webinar for example, how you program in the specific software. So whether that's adding a comma, maybe programming it with a natural speaking voice if you're having difficulty like programming the wake word. So programming the word Alexa with a natural speaking voice if your device isn't picking it up. And then sometimes proximity of where the speaker is on the communication device can be like a tip or trick on how to help increase the compatibility. But there are some that are more compatible with others. So it's kind of hard to just say like, oh, this is good with that. But we do kind of go over that a little bit more in depth in that webinar. So I'll send that information to Kyle so that he can share that out with you guys.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Of course.
Well, I think we're at the end of our time. I've got to say, we had more questions in this Fourth Tuesday Forum than we've had in a while, which speaks to, I think, the relevance of this topic. I want to thank our presenters. This was some great information that was shared. Each time I hear a presentation like this on assistive technology, it gives me ideas in terms of the way that technology can be used in ways that I hadn't thought of before. So thank you, everyone, and I hope everyone has a great afternoon.